Mind if I join you, Law? Hey, Law. About what you said before.
When?
You were telling me how there were things you wished you could have asked your dad. If you want, you can always come to me with your questions.
What brought this on all of a sudden? Don't I already lean on you enough as it is?
Still, there's plenty you would want to ask him if he was still alive, right?
I mean, yeah, but I think you'll have a hard time answering any of them, if I'm being honest.
How come?
I mean, the stuff I want to ask him about is, like, how he met my mom and how he won her over. Stuff like that. Anyway, not really something you can help with, right?
You're right. Sorry, Law. I can't even begin to imagine how to help with that.
You're telling me. I just wish there was someone experienced I could ask about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, he was definitely that.
Let's make sure to kick ass tomorrow, too. I feel pretty refreshed after that.
With battle well waged, only waging of words and a feast remain.
You want dinner? Is that what you're saying?
This is a true masterpiece, no less than culinary art.
Wow, that's some weird-looking meat you're cooking up there. What is it exactly?
That would be grilled rapig.
What?
Whoa there! What's the big brouhaha?
It's Rapig! How could you cook something with such cute little eyes? What did it ever do to you?
I fail to see what the problem is. Rapigs are perfectly edible creatures. Having said that, I do realize it's become rather rare to eat them lately. What with people increasingly embracing them as pets and companions.
They definitely didn't fall out of fashion to eat because of their flavor, that's for sure.
Agreed. Rapigs have tender, fatty meat. The taste can take some getting used to, but I would argue that's part of its charm.
If the taste is too strong, I imagine you can either just cook it thoroughly or simmer it with some herbs to mask it.
Indeed. At first I wasn't sure whether to smoke it with spices or simmer it in water, but I opted to grill it as is instead.
Seriously, Dohalim? You have the weirdest tastes.
That's probably because when you live the life of a lord, you grow tired of most ordinary cuisine.
So you end up seeking out more unusual food. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, putting aside what it used to be, you've got to admit it does look pretty damn good. Meat is meat, after all.
That reminds me. I do believe I once read in a book about rare delicacies, how one can go about preparing an owl.
Huh?
I suppose I won't have the chance to try it anytime soon.
Not with Hoodle, you won't!
Rinwell, mind if we chat a little? What's wrong? You're looking pretty down. Something on your mind?
Yeah, you could say that. It's just, well, there's something that's been eating away at me for a long, long time. Do you mind if I share it with you?
Of course not. I'm glad to listen.
See, my mom and dad used to tell me I shouldn't go around casting magic. But there was one time I did, behind their backs. And when I did, Almeidrea showed up.
Huh?
I hated Almeidrea for destroying everything I loved. But what I hated most was myself. For breaking my promise to my parents. Even though I swore I'd get revenge, there was always this nagging part of me that wondered if I even had any right to do so.
Rinwell, it was Almeidrea who killed your family. Don't torment yourself over one mistake.
How can you say that when my mother and father died because of me?
This may not comfort you much, but I'll say it anyway. I have a feeling your parents always knew something like that might happen.
What do you mean?
There was always a chance that someday, someone was going to find you and your family. But even knowing the risks, they still taught you magic. And there are two reasons I can think of for that. First, your talent. Second, they were hedging their bets.
Huh? On what?
On you, Rinwell. On how you turn out when you grew up. Sure, learning magic may invite danger, but it would have been even more dangerous to live in hiding without being able to defend yourself. They knew what they were getting themselves into when they taught you magic. And I think they did it because of how much they loved you.
Because my mother and father loved me.
Sorry, I know I shouldn't be putting words into your parents' mouths.
No, it's okay. I used to think I would have been better off if I never knew how to use magic. And if I'm really honest with myself, sometimes I still think that. But after traveling around with all of you guys, I've learned that there are things I can do with magic. That there's a point to it after all. So I'm going to keep trying. I'm gonna try and accept it as part of who I am. I want to use it to protect my friends. To protect the future of Dana. Do you think that's selfish of me?
Not at all. I wouldn't want it any other way with you, Rinwell.
Night, everyone!
Thanks to you, I was able to rest easy.
Alphen, do you understand what's on the line here?
What?
The fish, Alphen. With all these Zoogles around, nobody can give them a good home. Namely, my stomach.
Shion, we can't rush this. If there's a big-time Zoogle waiting for us, we've got to be prepared.
You've got a point.
We can't let some dumb Zoogle beat us. Not with these fish at stake.
I'm pretty sure we're all in it to win it here.
Hey, that actually came out pretty all right, don't you think?
Kisara, let's talk for a bit. Thinking some more about how to realize your ideals?
No. Actually, I've been trying not to obsess about it as much as before. I find when I think too much about my ideals, I get hung up on the reality of things and lose sight of what's really important. I know what it's like to go hungry, to lose your family. That should be reason enough to fight for a better society, so nobody else has to. Sorry about that.
Even thinking about things will make you hungry after a while. You wait here. I'll go whip something up for you.
Thanks for the food.
What's so funny?
Nothing. Just impressed at how good of a cook you've become.
Well, we've been on this journey for a while now, so I've had more than a few opportunities to hone my skills.
Yeah, and now I have a good meal in me. There's a simple kind of happiness that comes with that, you know? One that's more powerful and convincing than complicated logic can be.
That reminds me of something Law said, about how talking too much doesn't put food in people's stomachs.
That sounds like Law. But it's true nonetheless. When you get down to it, all you really need is enough food to keep you full and to be surrounded by people you love. Everything else comes second.
Speaking of people you love, I haven't heard you talk about Miguel much lately.
Wow, okay. Way to make me feel like the worst sister ever. But you're right, I haven't. If I'm honest, I think it's because I finally found other people I love just as much. Whatever kind of society we end up having after this, it needs to be a place where I know you all can be happy. That's my starting point for now. Don't worry. Once I finish folding these clothes, I'll go to sleep. Let's stay safe. You worked hard today too, didn't you, sweetie? Looks perfect and tastes just as good. Well, how's it taste?
The meat is just the right texture and firmness. You can easily taste all of the ingredients that went into it.
I'm impressed you can cut up such a huge fish.
The basic procedure doesn't really change whether a fish is big or small. All it takes is practice.
Still, I feel a little bad eating this fish. It's supposed to be a pretty rare species, isn't it?
I'm the type who fishes for food first and foremost. Once I catch something, I cook it up with care so it doesn't go to waste. Don't worry, I took an imprint of it for posterity before I turned it into steak.
The meat is so thick. It almost reminds me a little of beef.
What's the difference? Isn't it all meat at the end of the day, regardless of where it comes from?
Says the guy who always complains about it not being red meat whenever we have fish.
Look, as long as it tastes good, I don't care what it is.
Even vegetables?
I'm talking about meat!
It looks thick because that's how big the fish was. There's still plenty to go around, so feel free to have more if you want it.
Sure, I'll take another slice.
Better grab it while you can, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow.
I've got a good amount of info on our enemies written down now.
That's wonderful, Rinwell. I'm sure that data shall prove most useful.
I like to think so. If there's anything you want to know, just ask.
This is a true masterpiece. No...
Dohalim, care if I hang out for a while? I wanted to ask you something.
I'm all ears.
How much contact did you have with the other lords back in the day?
I only saw or exchanged words with them on a handful of occasions. Not that I was particularly keen on even that much.
Almeidrea made it sound like the two of you had some kind of history together.
She was like that with all of the lords, not just me. She was always interested in who she could use, who had value for her own ends. Having said that, she wasn't quite so brazen back when we were still in Lenegis. In a sense, she may have been a victim of the crown contest as well.
Almeidrea? A victim?
To a Renan, there is no greater honor in life than being chosen to serve as a lord, let alone to go on and become the next sovereign. We are taught that from the day we leave the womb. There are few Renans who wouldn't be ecstatic at the prospect of ascending to lordship.
You were like that though, right? You've always struck me as a more grounded guy.
No sane Renan would ever dare admit that their interests lie in anything but power and prestige. even if they feel so in their heart of hearts.
The more you talk about it, the more it seems like the crown contest is nothing but misery for Renans, too.
Which is why I seek to end it. Not that I imagine Danon such as Rinwell are all that interested in hearing tales of woe such as mine. Do you mind watching our camp tonight? Shall we get moving?